Good afternoon and welcome to another edition of Tecman Talks Dynamics. I've got Matt and Liam here with me this afternoon. I'm James. Guys, we've got another licensing scheme from Microsoft just to make a change that affects the Business Central community. Coming in from the 1st of September, Liam?
1st of September, yeah, so it's just about to drop when we're recording this, yeah.
So this replaces the CSP EP scheme that they launched quite hurriedly last year that allowed people on traditional maintenance, BREP, as it used to be called, annual maintenance some of the times, to move to kind of a subscription model. Is that right?
Yeah, that's right. I think when COVID was in full force, April, May time, they were getting a lot of pressure from partners to what could they do to help customers. And I think the main reason to move them to CSP was to go from a large annual payment. It gave the end users the ability to go to a monthly payment, which was designed to help cash flow, I think.
Which was very important during
It was, especially in the first few months when there was a lot of panic around
Nobody
what was
knew where the
good.
bottom was. And you also got a cloud instance as kind of a bonus throw-in.
Yeah,
Right?
it was. They got the CSP revenue, which is if you've got Office 365, it's just your way of monthly provisioning your licenses. And yeah, you took that and you paid the same amount but spread over 12 months. You had to do a bit of jiggery pokery, or the partner did, to basically sell so many CSP licenses that matched the value of whatever your enhancement plan, BREP, and your maintenance was to get that round about the same
We
number.
saw some take-up on this, not kind of huge amounts, but some take-up.
Yeah, I think it started in the August. By then, I think customers were starting to realise that it wasn't the end of the world commercially. There were still some fears, but
Well, it was August before we got all the details, wasn't it? I mean, it launched in June, but you had zero chance.
no chance of getting it. So we missed the June and July renewals more or less, and then so the first bunch of customers we could really offer it to, could consider it, was around about August. I think people looked at it, and some people said, "Well, I still want to pay it all up front and just deal with it." But yeah, there was no change to the product. As you said, you've got a cloud instance, which was nice. If you were looking to move to a SaaS environment, then great, you had this ability to play with it. But apart from the monthly payments, it didn't really offer.
And it cost exactly the same amount as your maintenance would have cost.
Yeah, within a few pence. You have to juggle the CSP licenses, but within a few pence.
So what have they changed now then? What's replacing?
So it was a 12-month promo. That has now come to an end. We were led to believe they were going to extend that. And I will say, if you were on that promotion, if you did take us up on that, you can extend it for 2 further years. So you could have 3 years.
So if you got on the bus, you can stay on the bus.
You can stay on for another 2 years. At the end of those 2 years, and this is the critical bit, at the end of 2 years on the original promotion, you could then either stick on a CSP. They would work out what the CSP licenses are on today's licenses, and there'd be a change in your payment.
Or the CSP licenses when your deal ends.
When your deal ends, yeah.
Whatever they're promoting in 2 years' time. Or
So was that at the end of the 3 years you'd be paying a full kind of monthly subscription license, or discounted?
So at the moment, if you were a NAV user today and transitioned to BC before they did this new promotion, you would have a reduced cost for your CSP license, because you could have we were led to believe it was forever. When you go through the small print, it is not forever. There's no guarantee that Microsoft aren't going to withdraw that after a period of time and say, right, that transition period is going to be turned off after they may give you a year or two's notice, and then you'll go on to the full priced CSP as it was. There's
or
no
you
guarantee.
could go back to BREP, couldn't you?
If you're on the promo, if you're on that promo now, absolutely, that was your
So
option.
the
You could say,
CSP EP promo, you had the option of reversing back
for
onto
3
where you
years.
are now.
If you didn't like what Microsoft were offering at the end of it, you could say, okay, well, I'll go back to my enhancement plan, which I know is 16% of my license value, which it's been for forever and a day.
But that wouldn't account for SaaS customers, though, would it?
Yeah, if you were
moved
using
to
the SaaS platform, you'd have to pay for the SaaS platform.
Correct.
So if you'd have gone back to BREP, they'd have turned that off. That would have been a bit of
Well, you can
bad
understand
news,
that,
wouldn't it?
there's
Yeah.
a cost to Microsoft to run that, so that's fair.
I think if you were looking to end up on a SaaS platform, these promotions you should definitely look at, because there's a great 3-4 years, we'll talk about in a moment, route to get you to end up on a SaaS platform. If it was purely being done from a cash flow point of view to spread my payments monthly, then you need to look at this carefully, because if
The new one,
because that's the main change on the promo they're coming out now. They're actually called it, and they've been very upfront, it is a bridge to the cloud. It's a one-way journey. So if you sign up for this, you end up on a CSP monthly payment forever, okay, unless they offer something else, but for the foreseeable. It will be a 4-year deal, so it's a 1-year promo. You can extend for a further 3 years, so you can have it 4 years. So that means you still pay exactly the same as you're paying on your Brep now, but monthly. Okay. And you can extend that for 4 years.
So bridge to the cloud. I mean, most bridges I go across, you can go across the other way as well. So this is more like
a toll bridge,
a water chute to the cloud or something, where you go down the slide, and once you're in the pool, you're in the pool.
Well, I don't think Microsoft marketing team would have come up with that, but you're right. There is no way back on this. So once you sign up for this, you cannot go back to your enhancement plan of an annual payment of 16% of your license fee. You are on the CSP model.
So what's the new one called? Bridge to the Cloud.
Bridge to the Cloud.
Okay, I got that. And how long does this one last for?
This is a 1-year promo, extendable for a further 3 years. So a maximum
potentially 4 years.
Yeah. So you're guaranteed. You're guaranteed. That's the plus side of this. You're guaranteed for 4 years that you know what your price is. If you increase your user count or whatever, then obviously it will increase proportionately. But you'll only pay what you were paying on your enhancement plan. There's no negative side of that. So yes, you get the ability to pay monthly, and you are starting that journey to a CSP. I would say a SaaS.
And you still get the cloud instance and all the other stuff that you got with CSP, EP. So I guess really this is for people who are pretty damn confident, come what may, they will get to SaaS in the next 4 years.
Correct. So you keep all your enhancement plan benefits that you've had before. Okay, so you're running both schemes for the price of one, if that makes sense. Yeah. So that's the benefit. You got the 4 years fixed price, but you will end up on SaaS. There is no, at the end of those 4 years, or when you decide after 1 or 2 years you want to drop the promo, you cannot go back to enhancement plan. So at the end of that, you're going to go on to whatever it says is the licensing options available to you at that time. Now, Microsoft have been fairly consistent with their CSP pricing. They haven't changed dramatically in the period of time that we've been working with them. We were just talking before we started recording that for the first time in a decade, Microsoft have just increased their Office and Microsoft 365 plans, which is probably their biggest CSP revenue earner. It's all the Office stuff, and that's the first time in a decade.
That's a long time.
It's a long time. It is a long time.
Well, inflation pressure is getting a bit stronger, isn't it? Especially in the US, seems to be the numbers are keeping up, and if if it's cumulative as well, if inflation's 2% a year and you do that for 5 years, that's a significant increase. So
to Fed, and they're always throwing new stuff into the product. It's not as though you're sitting on the same version of Office you were using in 2011. You are. There's lots of new features.
No, but we don't like prices going up, do we?
No, never.
and if I'm having a grumpy afternoon, then probably I'm going to kind of talk about the fact that why aren't Microsoft relying on the confidence of their, why do they have to put in the T's and C's that you can't go back? What was so wrong about the CSP EP that they've introduced this change to say it's a one-way only? I'm kind of, the product should be so good that you would never want to consider going back anyway. That's the way to win and keep customers rather than necessarily put it in the terms and conditions.
Well, I know we've fed that back, and I've spoken to a few other partners that have similar feelings, but not everybody will, I'm sure. I think if you take your end user hat off, you can see why Microsoft want this.
Sure.
If we're being brutally honest, it's better for partners. We do slightly better out of that than we would on the old enhancement plan in terms of the way that.
So
works.
That's where clients have to be careful that they're not being sold down this route for an ulterior motive, really, that it is the right strategy for them rather than just the people who want to sell to them.
Well, we always try and be open and honest with our customers. As you said, at the end of 4 years, which sounds a long time away in IT terms, will come around quickly. You don't have a way back off this. So they need to be fully aware that at the end of this, there could be an increase in price. They probably need to work out, if it was today, what would that price increase look like?
Is there any indication what that will be? Is it...
I mean, Microsoft offer this transition SKU right now. If you take out all the promos they're doing, if you decide to go from a NAV version to CSP, you do get a discount on that as you move across.
It is tough to ask them to do their pricing for 4 years' time as well.
4
years for a public company is quite a length of time to guarantee pricing.
There's some uncertainty, is what I'd say, and you need to know.
But for our customer that has to sign on the dotted line that says in 4 years' time, the FD is committed to this.
Yeah.
But he doesn't know what it's going to be.
And actually moving to the cloud, probably the licensing implication is the least of your worries and least of your costs, because you've either got the cost of re-implementation, which is disruptive to the business potentially, might give you some benefits, but certainly is not going to be a quick process. Or migration to the cloud, migrating all your customizations and data up to there and getting it the same and so on is some customers are that's I wouldn't say it's hard, but I would say it's not quick.
Yeah, I mean the hop through BC14 to go from CAL to AL,
that door's shutting.
Yeah, it is, and it's we've had a reasonable amount of customers starting that process. There's still a lot that need to get on with it, but it's even getting onto 14 with some CAL and giving you time to move to AL could take a while, because there doesn't seem any impending deadline for customers really. It'll be
loss of support, but how much do we rely on Microsoft anyway? In reality, a little bit around kind of making tax digital here in the UK, regulatory requirements, but it's not. There's ways around that by and large, isn't there? If you need to, customers have got to really think long and hard. You kind of say if they don't have a strategy, 95% of our new customers are going cloud now. So, the existing customer base is at some point is going to have to catch up with that. The other tough unsaid one that people don't want to talk about, especially Microsoft, is cancelling your maintenance and subscription or whatever, saving your money, and then buying again in a few years' time. But 4 years is 64% or whatever at 16% times. So you're still only halfway there. That's not going to help you with your brand new subscription for too long.
The last thing I want to do is talk people out of renewing their maintenance, because there's always that fear. I think there are certain customers that know when you remove that maintenance, you do lose the ability to buy new users, new objects, new tables.
That's the catch.
Actually. So if you do cancel it, you are you're restricted
Locked.
to what you've got.
Locked.
Yeah, absolutely.
And certainly for the UK, I think where we are today, who knows what the next few short years are going to bring in terms of changes that are needed to the system. So it's a risk, isn't it?
It is. There is a risk, and I think a lot of companies are concerned about that. And I guess the bigger you are, the more worry there is that you're the person that put your name on a signature. That then
that comes up in audit reports and things, that their system is unsupported. Yeah. So if you're a private company, that's fair enough. But if you're public in any way, shape, or form, or intend to get acquired or whatever, if you intend to get acquired at some point in the future, it's going to knock the price down. When they uncover that one.
I mean, I think Microsoft doing these promos, I think, is a good thing. It gives people a little bit of choice, which they've never had before. It was you renew your maintenance or you don't. It was as simple as that. So I think the ability to maybe smooth that transition. We used to have I'm trying to think what the time period was on this. When we went from like a NAV license to a BC CSP, you only had a period where you could overlap for so long, and I can't remember what.
18 months.
18 months. So, as you said, that can be quite a tight deadline if you're doing a big implementation. This does give you a longer window to run both systems legally and have a play with the SaaS stuff and then move it across. So I think that's good. You've got a little bit more flexibility. But as you said, it seems very black and white with Microsoft that there was I can't see why they wouldn't still allow you to have that rollback.
On the basis nobody's going to take it, I didn't expect anybody to take it with CSP EP, but advising the customer to go down a road which is one way is a whole different ballgame from saying, well, actually, if you don't like it, you can come back up.
Yeah. And if you're that confident in your product, then why would you limit that?
Why would you limit that?
Yeah,
just keep the lawyers out of it, please, as much as you can.
I never want to go against Microsoft lawyers. They've got far deeper pockets than most of us, but okay. So, that's roughly where we're at. It starts, as we said, on 1st September. So if people are coming to renewal and they're being offered it,
that's the other comment I would make. I mean, we start talking about renewals, don't we? 90 days before they're due, because there's no kind of going past that deadline. They've made the deadline very hard. So to announce something in the middle, only the details coming out kind of in the last couple of weeks for stuff that starts from the beginning of September seems like they've got two rules here. One is they're saying do it 90 days ahead, and the other is we're only going to tell you 3 weeks before it starts.
I'm pretty sure I need to look at that. There's the headline release that Microsoft do, and then there's the the 5-10 page document with all the little details.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to think, there might be a mid-term way of moving on to this, so it's not, if you've missed it, you could be like...
That would be different, because you couldn't do that with CSV.
But I'm trying to think, if you've paid your...
How does that work?
How does it work? So I might have misread it. You have to read Microsoft's small print about 10 times before you get your head around it. But yeah, that you're right on that. But it does seem to say it starts from 21 and it can be extended for a further 3 years. So I think you couldn't start it in 22 and then have 3 years. It's going to run from 21 to 24 or 25. Yeah. Try and work it through there.
Yeah. So your 12-month renewal from the 1st of September, any time for the 12 months after that. If you're renewing in that entire 12 months, obviously you will be.
You'll get up to 4
whichever,
years.
you don't have to do it on the 1st of September. Or you can wait till.
Okay, well, this isn't the most riveting of topics, so I think we've probably covered it in enough detail there. Certainly, you should talk to your partner, talk to your contacts, and say, given our strategy, what makes sense for us. And as always, the partner has a ethical obligation to give you best advice.
And that's important, because if you were on the original promo from 12 months ago, you can continue with that one, or you can transition onto this one. So be careful if you're not aware that you're
transitioned without your knowledge.
Correct, yeah. If you end up being...
Because actually, you're far better off staying on the original one.
Apart from the extra 1 year, you get. Yeah. But if you're aware of that, then you're right, James, yes.
Yeah. Okay, thank you both, and thanks everybody for listening.